So recently, I was asked to teach about Hebrews. And so immediately I went to go read the book. So I went to go read this book and I was amazed by how amazing this book was. And I'm reading through it of how much wisdom and how it connects the Old Testament to the New Testament. And I was so amazed by this book. So what do I do next? I go to Google, okay? Great for information. I go to Google and I look up who is the author of Hebrews. And what pops up? A bunch of theories. So I was like, what? A bunch of theories. So this got me thinking. And it made me want to do my own investigation here. So before we look at who might have written this book, this amazing book, let's look at some of the background first. So first, it was written to Jewish Christians who were facing persecution and struggling with their faith. The main theme of the book is that Jesus is greater than everything. Right? They said he's greater than the angels, greater than Moses, and even greater than the high priest at the time. So for my investigation, who are the suspects? Most people agree that these are the four people that they think could have written it. We have Paul, Barnabas, Luke, and Apollos. I'm going to focus on the first three today. So first up, we have Paul. The safest bet, okay? He wrote most of the New Testament. He wrote a lot of letters, we know, in the New Testament. So, this is our guy. This is what people think, he wrote the book, guys. Come on. He had a deep understanding of Jewish law, so it would make sense why he's writing about this stuff. But for me, the style of the book is so different from what Paul ever used to do, ever did in any of the other books. It's just a different style. It doesn't start the same. The introduction's not the same. The ending's not the same. So, for me, I don't think Paul was the author. I don't agree with the consensus or the main thought that he was the author. I don't follow that. So I do not believe that he was the author. So who is my next suspect? My next suspect is Barnabas. He was a Levite, okay? And the topics that were discussed in Hebrews is something that a Levite would understand, right? Would grow up knowing the priesthood and the sacrifice are all things a Levite would definitely understand and talk about. But the problem for me is that Barnabas has never been linked to this book. There's never been evidence to say that he wrote it or anything like that. And for me, just the Levite connection is not enough to get me on board. So I do not believe that he wrote the book. Now, for my personal pick and who I think wrote the book is Luke. Luke wrote the Gospel of Luke and the book of Acts. And if you compare those two books to Hebrews, the style is very similar. And some people say that it's too focused on Jewish law and things, in the Jewish life. And that Luke would not write about that stuff, right? Luke never wrote about the Jewish stuff like that nearly as much as the other authors. But I would argue that he was with Paul all the time. So Paul had influence on him. So he would understand these the Jewish law, all this stuff that maybe he didn't write about in other books. So I believe that Luke wrote the book of Hebrews. That's one of my investigation. I've given the information, and you guys make your own decision. Who do you think wrote Hebrews? My pick is Luke.